Before GPS was invented, how did people know the exact place of an address? If it was local, lots of people knew the names of roads around them by name. Or directions could be given using landmarks. Turn left at JJ's Diner. Go 2 blocks. Turn right on Elm. And I'm the first house on the left. If it wasn't local, cities, towns, states away, we used maps. Printed on paper. You planned a route to the town by looking at the map, and then relied on the above for specific direction for rural places. Or city maps with every street mapped out for more populated areas. Internet age. In the late 90s, early 2000s, we also had websites like MapQuest where you typed in your starting location, adding location, and they gave you a list of turn-by-turn directions you printed out on paper and took with you in the car. We had physical maps. Gas stations were noted for selling and giving them away. Glove boxes were full of them. You guys and your maps. My method was to have my dad write down directions, then get lost and cry in my car. Maps would have an index listing every street in town. If you were looking for Reddit Lane, you would find it alphabetically in the index where it would have a grid coordinate listed Reddit Lane D8. So you would look at where lines D and 8 intersected on the map. Then you'd go there and look for the street number. Maps. Maps been around for centuries. Of course the city or state would be needed. But, yeah, maps. If a paper map didn't help, you stopped at a gas station and asked for directions. Or at a police station. My dad was the front desk officer at the local police station, and some days most of his work was helping people find addresses by following a map, street signs, etc. Additional to the map, address numbers are in numerical order, so once you got to the street you'd follow it to the correct number. Or you request which street corner you lived near to help narrow it down. You just made a good chunk of people feel their age. LMAO. I grew up in Los Angeles. We had the Thomas Guide, a spiral-bound book with maps of the whole city, usually found on the back seat or in the footwell of any car in the 1980s. Does anyone remember AAA triptychs? Back in my YY day, if you were planning a long trip, you could contact AAA, AAA, and tell them everywhere you planned to stop. They would chart it out for you and print a little spiral-bound booklet called a triptych, which would include fairly detailed maps, step-by-step directions, and information about things to do at each of your stops. As a matter of fact, you can still get them. We took our kids through Nova Scotia in the summer of 2016. And being unsure of satellite coverage of fairly remote locations, brought a triptych with us. Turns out the coverage was fairly decent, but it was nice to reference anyway. And we had no need to worry about phones dying, etc. Paper maps and street signs. There is a specific reason why we have designated house numbers odd numbered on one side, even on the other. Zip codes. Streets that show the direction. This information was taught in schools at one point. There is an ancient technology called map. A printed map? How old are you? We had maps just like we have digital maps now. In the UK, every town and city had an A to Z guide. It was a small book with all of the street names listed alphabetically with a page no and grid reference. Look up the street, turn to the right page and use the grid to find where you were going. Maps plus memory. Even before GPS navigation became affordable thanks to mobile internet, we used physical maps or just listed main points on a note and look for signs. For local driving, You pretty much memorized everything. I still memorize most of stuff while walking around the city. Physical maps. In US, it was a Thomas guide in every car. Also, I kept single-folded maps handy. Those maps are still better for special perception and macro views of a region in a way app maps can't, but having a map in the iPhone is one of its greatest contributions. Better and faster access than books. If I had trouble finding an address, I'd drop in at the local Domino's and ask them how to get there.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.